Hi, Michael here. My channel is called The Long Way Home. It's basically about my life before, during and after policing. This is one of my first episodes. I've started off my first episodes with a operation I had recently, an L3, L4 lumbar laminectomy that decompresses the nerves that are trapped in my lower back. I had these nerves trapped for nearly 20 years simply because I had other injuries and I just couldn't get on top of those injuries enough to get my back surgery done. During that time I had massage, osteopaths, chiropractors, faith healers, psychic healers. I had a medicine doctor once run around me chanting and showering me with sage and various other smoke he was blowing all over me, which was quite comical because it cost $250, but didn't fix anything, but it made me a bit happier, it made me smile that day, which is nice, because sometimes, as you know, if you're in pain all the time, it's not easy to smile all day. It's tough. More for me for keeping the injury for that long. I wish I'd had the surgery earlier. It's only 2 weeks since I've had the surgery. I'm lucky. I've got a GP that's a very good man. He looks after me very well. Excellent doctor. He referred me to an excellent neurosurgeon, a young lady who's very well known for being careful with surgery and being cautious, not let's get in and have a go and see what comes out. So when she said, Michael, you've got a catastrophic injury here on your back, on the x-rays, MRIs, it didn't surprise me at all, because as I was saying to my wife the other day, I didn't realise how long I'd had this pain for, but I remember nearly 18 years ago when we lived in another house having to take a couple of Panadol before I went out and mowed the lawn, because as soon as I started mowing the lawn, the pain was getting out of control. So I had to take the Panadol first, then go out and mow the lawn, and that was nearly 20 years ago. I injured myself in the New South Wales Police. I was a New South Wales Police officer for very close to 22 years. Unfortunately, policing is a contact sport. If you're going to be a police officer, chances are you're going to get hurt. It's just one of those things that comes with the job. You do things that superhuman people do. People look at you to be superhuman. They look at you once you're in the uniform to be able to do things that they can't do, or not be afraid of things that they are afraid of. So because of that, if you choose policing as I did, you take the good with the bad. So I have a bad neck injury that's been operated on several times, but in saying that, it's the best it's been in 20 years at the moment, so that's really good. I've got a lower back injury that I've had for a long time that I've just had addressed, and it's 2 weeks today since I had that done, and the pain is getting lower each day. So if I can get on top of that, it'd be fantastic. I had a right knee replacement about 18 months ago. My new knee's better than my old one, that's for sure. It's creaking and groaning and getting jammed and carrying on. Very painful, but I think it's even better than the one I had before I got it damaged. Actually, this new knee, it's a super duper knee. It's fantastic. It's so smooth. And strange enough, people said, you're not going to be able to work on your cars when you get your new knee. You're not going to be able to kneel down. You're not going to be able to empty your pool filters, skimmer box, that type of thing. You're just not going to be able to do these things. And I can get down on the ground, I can do what I want to do, and I can get up. The physiotherapist taught me how to get up, but it's quite simple. It's just using your strong leg and your arms to lift you up rather than your knee that's been replaced. Once again, that knee I've had 2 clean outs on it to clean out damaged meniscus over the past 20 years, and then full knee replacement 18 months ago, which I probably should have had the new knee done probably 10 years ago, but once again, my neck, it seems to take precedence over everything. It causes me a lot of headaches and a lot of other issues as well. So yeah, my neck has always been looked after, number one. Plus, with being a police officer, going to the incidents I've been to and doing the things we all do as police officers, I got PTSD, and that's another thing that needs to be addressed along the way, because it's not going anywhere. Like, it's been a fair while now since I've left the police force. I left the police force with my injuries on workers' compensation. And just on that, Mark from Camden sent me an email and said, "How have the police treated you with your workers' compensation injury? Have they been kind to you or not?" Look, in all honesty, I can't say anything bad about New South Wales Police Force. I can't say anything bad about anything in the police. I love being a police officer. And their workers' compensation system, whilst it's not fantastic, they're still very good. They look after me. Like, sometimes I've got to pull teeth a bit, but in general, they look after me. They pay my bills. I'm on a very small police pension now, which we're not really sort of making the bills. So after this we finished with the knee. After this back comes good, which probably be in about another 4 weeks' time, I can look at either getting back to work where I used to work, or that's in a retail store. Or if I find I can't do that, well, then I'll be looking for other work, just a couple of shifts a week, maybe work in a mechanical workshop, do a bit of road testing on the cars, maybe do spare parts deliveries, answer phones, book people in, something like that to suit me down the ground. Because I started off in life as a motor mechanic. So at the time, New South Wales Police wanted a trade or a very good passes in a high school certificate. I didn't like school at all. I was always very hyperactive with ADHD, and that caused me problems from when I was very young. Like, I remember even in first class, I used to get up and walk around the room, chat to people during the lessons, and the teacher would rouse on me back at the seat, and 5 minutes later I'd be walking out, having a look at the window and that sort of thing. I just couldn't sit still. And because I'm 65 now, when I was 8, 9, ADHD, hyperactivity was never really heard of. It was just bad manners. So I ended up getting a good few rap over the knuckles in those days with the ruler. Maybe some chalk thrown at me a couple of times. I remember once getting a feather duster later on in life thrown at me. Missed, luckily. And of course, I remember in 6th class getting the cane off a very good man who was a family friend who was the principal of high school. I thank him for giving me the cane. I have no malice whatsoever towards him for doing that, because to me, I think I deserved a whole heap more. I certainly got away with more than I got caught out for. But school to me was a social event, and I did tend to sit at the back of the room with the troublemakers and have as many laughs as possible. Still ended up coming first in my year in a couple of subjects in the skills certificate, but mainly rubbish subjects. I think one was geography. I first in the form of geography, so I was never going to do much with that. But if I enjoyed something, I'd put my heart into it. But I really didn't like maths. I liked English, and I did really well with English, and throughout life I've done very well out of English, being able to communicate in writing is very important, especially in the police when you report writing and doing statements for court, all that sort of thing. But even just life in general, being able to write a letter away to someone and say, yeah, I can't pay this bill yet, or can you help me out, or anything. It's certainly been a benefit to me throughout life to have a good understanding of English. But yeah, maths, art, science, woodwork, never really into woodwork, metalwork, yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I left school at fourth form because I just didn't want to go back. I went back for one day to fifth form, and I said to Mum and Dad, I don't want to be there. They said, well, if you're not going to be there, you've got to have a job by the end of the week. So the next day I went into town, the CBD, near where I lived, 15 minutes away. Walked up and down the street knocking on doors until eventually I got a job as a labourer at a place that built amusement devices, poker machines, that type of thing. I enjoyed that. It was fun at that time in life. That was in the days of Pac-Man and Space Invaders and all those games, and we used to build those games and repair them and install them and go away on trips installing them in various hotels and shops and one thing or another. And I made a lot of good friends there, some that I still have. One in particular I still have, a very dear friend. So that was fine. I was hoping for an apprenticeship there. Initially they said, there could be an apprenticeship here for you if things go well, but no apprenticeship. Then my dad, who owned service stations and a mechanical repair shop, one of his mechanics left him, and Mum suggested one night that maybe I should go and work for Dad and do a mechanical apprenticeship. Excuse me. So that's what I did. So from when I remember, I always wanted to be a police officer or a fire brigade officer. So I was pretty good at gaining skills and reaching goals. Once I decided I wanted to do something, I pretty much followed up on it. I decided when I was very young I wanted to be a police officer. So when I was in fourth form or L4 form or U10, I wrote some letters away to the various police departments, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland, seeking their packages as to how to apply, get as much information as I could. New South Wales Police at that time wrote back and said you need a HSC with good passes or a trade. So I'd started work with my dad doing the trade, which I did sort of have a bit of inside information that if you had a trade, you could get in, so into the police. So that's what I did. I got my trade, applied, and they wrote back and said, no, sorry, we're not recruiting at this stage. We've stopped recruiting because of the costings of the government. So then a friend of mine was working in a new and used car yard. He was driving nice sports cars around every night, bringing new cars, because we were only in our early 20s. We were only talking sort of 23, 24. He was showing me the big pay packets he used to get, and he'd started life off as a mechanic, and he said it's very good being a mechanic selling cars because you can explain everything to people, and plus you know everything about their cars. And I was passionate about cars. I think I had something like 25 cars before I was 30 or something like that, 26 motorbikes, and some boats as well, like boats, ski boats. Anything with motors I was in on. It's great. Speedway cars, yeah, helped this fellow, a good friend of mine, helped him build a speedway car, and we raced that for a few years, and it was enjoyable. Lying underneath the car with sunboil all over me on Easter, going home that night, working on the car all night, half the next day to get back to the raceway the next night to race it again. Heaps of fun when you're 22, 23, 24. Maybe not so much fun now, but yeah, certainly they were a great family. They took me under their wing, and they helped me out all the way through life, and I'm very thankful for them doing that for me. Gave me a really good reference for the police too. The husband and wife are both well-known business people, so yeah, they were really good for me. So yeah, I put off applying for the police. They said, go and do some more courses in between. We're not recruiting at present. Try and get your skill base up, communication skills, your English, grammar, that type of thing. But I got this job in the car yard. I just focused on, I want to drive these brand new flash cars around, and my mate's driving around, and I want the lifestyle that he's leading, because he had plenty of money, probably 4 times what I was getting as a mechanic. And he always wore flash clothes, and I did like wearing flash clothes, and he had nice watches, and I love nice watches. So I just kept hammering away at car yards, making inquiries if they're taking on any training salesmen, or if they would take on any training salesmen. Then one day a car yard rang me up and said, come down and have a talk to us. So I went down, had a chat to them. They're a really big Mitsubishi dealership. They sold new cars and used cars. They also had a couple more different dealerships. It's a very big network owned by a really nice fellow, his family. Had the interview with the sales manager. The general manager came down, had a chat, and they said, we think you can sell cars. If you can sell cars, we'll give you a job and you'll have a good income for as long as you want. And they showed me some of the bookwork of how much money people were getting, and I must admit I was quite shocked. Very good money in those days. We're talking 1984, but probably 3 or 4 times what a mechanic was making a week, but you had to work for it. That's another story. So yeah, I had the interview, went back to work at my dad's work. A couple of hours later, the phone rang and said, when can you start? So I spoke to Dad, and Dad said, well, if you want, you can leave here this Friday and start on Monday next week. So I told them Monday next week. They said, fantastic. I went and got my hair cut and got all flashed up, went and got some nice clothes, and started selling cars. And I fitted into the dealership really well. There's a lot of nice people work there, and I met a lot of nice people that I sold cars to too. I was exclusively selling new Mitsubishi in those days. That was at the release of Magna, and Pajero was also a very strong seller. They had the Cordia Turbo and the Starion as well. All very good, very popular cars. Sigmas, Colts, great product, easy to sell, and I could get extremely enthusiastic about these products because these cars were fantastic. Pajeros were fantastic, Magnas were fantastic, Cordia Turbos, people loved them, Starion Turbos, people loved them, Scorpions, fantastic car. I love Scorpions, still do. So I got really passionate about selling cars. So I did really well, and I ended up being in one of the top salesmen in the state. One of the top salesmen, not up near the top, but one of the top salesmen in the state after a couple of years, and making really good money, and they were looking after me really well. I basically got to pick at the car that I wanted to drive. So I had a good time there. And after a while I thought maybe I should go and work at another dealership just to get some different skills and views. So I went and worked for a major Toyota dealership, and once again I got along well with the managers, I got along well with the people I worked with, I got along well with the customers, and I sold a lot of cars and made them a lot of money and me a lot of money. And they looked after me. I had a brand new sports car to drive around in all the time. As my own private car as well, fully maintained, fully fueled up. I don't believe the salespeople get that anymore. We were pretty spoiled back then, but that was the standard then. That's what people got. So I drove luxury 4-wheel drives, and I drove sports cars. The managing director of the business just happened to live 2 doors up from me at home, which certainly didn't cause me any problems, because he dealt with me as if I was his son, and I dealt with him as if he was my father/boss. I knew what I could get away with, but I knew where the line was drawn. But he did tell me many years later that he knew I was sneaking into his office and taking his dark chocolate almonds out of his jar he had on the desk. I thought I was getting away with it. No cameras in those days, but these little dark chocolates, they sort of talk to me. I got a sweet tooth, and I thought I'd just go in Brian's office and just knock a few off. And I remember one day, we started working a night shift, or an afternoon shift, not a night shift. I said to him, perhaps instead of closing at 5 o'clock, I should open till 7 o'clock. So add 2 hours to the end of the day, keep the car yard open for another couple of hours, and we'll sell a lot more cars. And he said, well, yeah, if you want to do that, you can do that. So he said, just sit in my office, and looked out over the whole yard, and if someone comes in, go and have a chat to him. Well, sitting in his office was this nice big jar of dark chocolate almonds. And I used to get into them sort of thing. But one day I realised I got into them too much. So I thought, I'm going to have to sort this out. So otherwise I'm going to get sprung here. So after I left work that day, I knew he was away for a few days. I ducked down to local Coles, and I got this bag of pretty cheap. that was the problem, getting cheap ones. I got some pretty cheap, very cheap, dark chocolate almonds, and put them in his jar and filled his jar back up with chocolate almonds. And he never said anything. I thought, this is good. Didn't get caught there, I better be more careful next time, never get caught again. And then you would not believe it, when I was leaving them years later to join the police, he shook my hand and wished me well. And he said, by the way, he goes, you should never steal people's dark chocolate almonds that are premium quality and fill the jar up with crap ones, because those ones were awful. So that's where that ended up. So then I went from there to policing. We're probably getting off topic a bit here. What we're looking at the moment is trying to help people out who have these lumbar problems. As I said, I had the operation, it's about 2 weeks today. It's exactly 2 weeks today. So, things are getting along well. I think I might do a video on a few tips and tricks about the lumbar surgery. I'm starting this channel talking about my life before, during and after policing, and I've got a lot of really interesting police stories to tell you, and I'm also open to any emails. If anyone's got anything they'd like to ask me, I'm an honest person. I've always believed honesty is the best policy. It's certainly worked well for me. If you've got any ideas of what you'd like to hear or any comments, please email them. My email address is in lowercase longwayh@gmail.com.